What is going on?
Go ahead, bud.
Welcome, everybody, to a football Sunday just before the noon o'clock hour. So good morning, I guess. I don't know what the fuck is happening.
Yeah, you little.
I'm
little. Are you in the? You're up in the Northeast, aren't you, Aaron?
You got a fucking snuggie on? Like, what is happening?
What's happening is I am fucking freezing cold from that fucking freezing cold Aaron Rodgers take that you fucking made last week, talking about he's not the same Aaron Rodgers.
What did Josh
the guy's
Allen
the
do?
freaking MVP. This is a freezing cold take, Justin.
Hey, what did Josh Allen do yesterday? Oh, that's right. Okay, no, it's all right. Go ahead, continue.
I agreed he was an MVP candidate, but we're not going to get into the Aaron Rodgers stuff.
Nobody argued that Josh Allen isn't amazing, but
No,
as I was
watching
last week, Aaron Rodgers is just flicking the ball downfield wherever he wanted to.
He's the Vegas favorite for MVP right now.
You want me to believe that 36-year-old Aaron Rodgers is the same as 28-year-old Aaron Rodgers, and I'm telling you, you're wrong.
He's better.
Aaron Rodgers is going
He's not
out,
the same.
and
He's
Josh
better.
Allen is coming in. Everybody calm the fuck down. I don't care about Aaron Rodgers. Let's go. Next topic.
Better than 28 years old.
Oh, no, he's not. Come on.
Yeah, he is.
Here we go. All right, we got our picks for you today. We are going to do our picks live. Justin had a bounce back week last week.
Justin went 10-5 and Aaron went 8-7 is what happened.
8-7, 10-5. Either way, you won money. You won more if you listen to Justin's logic. We'll get into the Eagles game. What worries me? What doesn't worry me? I'm excited to see a second week of Jalen Hurts, as I know Justin and Jeff are as well. So let's get right into these picks and give you our picks and our reasoning.
I got to pull up my list now. Hold on.
We didn't. We're gonna tell you live what our picks are. We sent them to Jeff last night so we can know that nobody cheated. So
all right, go ahead. You start, bud.
First game, Houston and the Colts. Houston plus 7.5. So these guys just played each other a couple weeks ago. Houston had a chance to win this game, but there was a bad snap at the end. Houston fumbled in the red zone, lost the game. Deshaun Watson after the game just looked completely out of it, like he didn't want to play for Houston anymore. That was their chance against the Colts this year. It's not going to happen twice. Houston has a really bad run defense. They're one of the worst in the league. They're 31st in yards per carry, 31st in rushing yards per game. The Colts have actually started to run the ball a little bit better recently, and they're going to have to because, once again, we know there's a statue sitting back in the pocket in Phillip Rivers. Jonathan Taylor's finding his groove, rushed for 150 yards last week. Houston's pass defense is also in shambles. Mitch Trubisky lit them up for 275 yards and 3 touchdowns last week. Indy's the top 5 defense. All of this is bad for Houston. Last week was their chance. I don't like the half a point when you're giving me 7, but I am going to take the Colts this week and give Houston that 7.5 points.
I'm not going to be nearly as long-winded to tell you that Indianapolis is a good football team and Houston's just a terrible one right now. I don't think 7.5 is enough. I think this Indianapolis Colts team is good enough to beat a bad Houston team by multiple touchdowns. I don't think this game's going to be close. I think the Colts are ramping up for what looks to be a surprisingly good playoff run. This one's a simple one to me. I'm going to go Indy minus 7.5, but I am going to go over because I think there's points scored today.
I like the under in this because I think the Texans are just going to get destroyed by the Colts defense.
Before we go on to the next pick, I'm very upset. Neither of you guys gave me credit for my money line parlay bet, both underdogs. It came fucking good. Did either of you take it?
We like to boast ourselves here, Jeff. We boast ourselves up. We don't like to give credit to other people. So when you do something right, you got to talk about it yourself.
Well, did either of you guys take that bet?
I did not. I can't bet pro Eagles, dog. I can't do it.
But you would have won $300 for every $10 you bet.
I could have. But
right.
It's okay.
I just wanted to point that out.
Right,
I was right about the birds. You guys both said the birds. You felt like the birds were going to win this, and you couldn't take them.
The experience told us one thing, or my logic told me another.
Yeah, you guys had the win in the grasp of your hands. Okay, next one: Lions, Titans,
Tennessee, and Detroit. So this one was a fun one for me. I don't like Tennessee to beat anybody but the New York Jets by more than 10 points. So this one really made me think. Detroit's got a little bit of an infusion of spark now that Matt Patricia's horrendous coaching is out of the building. I think that a scarecrow with Bill Belichick's face painted on it might have been a better head coach than Matt Patricia was. I just don't. This came to me that I don't like the Titans as much as I like the Titans 6 weeks ago. So I think Detroit has the ability to cover a 10-point line. I'm going to take the 10 points. Because of that, I'm going to go over because I think each team, I think 28 wins this game, maybe 31. So I'm going to take the over, but I don't think that Tennessee is good enough to beat a team like Detroit by 10 points. So I'm going Detroit plus 10 in the over.
So Detroit's played a lot of close games this year. They covered that 9-point line last week against the Packers when they lost by 7. That was a 9-point spread. This is a 10-point spread. The Titans, to me, look like they're getting stronger these last couple weeks, and that's typically what they're going to do come December, January, because they're a run-heavy team, and in December and January, you have to play run-heavy football and be good at it to win football games. I like Derrick Henry right now. He's on quite a roll. 8.3 yards a carry last week, 215 yards, 2 touchdowns. He leads the league in rushing right now. Now, he did this against the Jaguars last week, but the Lions' rush defense is just as bad as the Jaguars' rush defense, although they're not as bad as of a team. The Lions' pass defense is also at the bottom of the league, bottom 6 in opposing passer rating. I think the magic this week, Justin, with that little Patricia firing spark ends. I think Detroit gets blown out this week. Tennessee covers this spread. It hurts me to do, but logic tells me that they can cover this spread. I'm taking Tennessee minus 10 in the over.
All right.
I like the over on this too. Bucks, Falcons.
So the Bucks won by 13 the last time these two teams played in Week 12. That game was in Tampa Bay. This game is in Atlanta. Tampa Bay's been inconsistent. Brady finally connected last week with Scotty Miller on a deep pass. He hasn't done that for the most part of this year. Atlanta had a good, kind of 6-game run with Raheem Morris at the head coach. They're kind of coming back down to earth at this point. They've been a little bit better defensively, but they've been rough overall. Last week, they fared well against Justin Herbert and the Chargers. The Chargers won that game outright. But the Bucks have 40 sacks on the year. Matt Ryan isn't as athletic as he used to be. They're tied for 4th in sacks and 3rd in QB hits. When you put pressure on Matt Ryan, he does not do too well.
I'm just going to write down Tampa Bay minus 5.5 for you, bud.
The Bucks are leaning on the run a little bit more. I'm giving the explanation to our audience, Justin. This is what we do here. Bucks minus 5.5.
You're a long-winded motherfucker today. That's all I know. You've got stats on everything.
Bucks minus. This is our job, bud. This is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to give the audience all this information so they can make informed decisions. Can I change your little thing
next to your name to say Aaron at Pro Football Focus?
Anyway, Bucks minus 5.5 and in the over as well.
The statistics to me don't matter in this game because this is, as you say, this is a divisional game where the last time when you get beat by multiple possessions, you're probably not going to this time. Yeah. I'm going to say something crazy and say that I would not be surprised if Atlanta found a way to win this game. I don't expect it, but it wouldn't be shocking to me if Atlanta came away with the win because of how inconsistent Tom Brady's been, because of how inconsistent Tampa Bay's been. To me, because of how bad of a head coach Bruce Arians has really turned out to be with a level of talent anybody would kill a small dog for.
They have a great record, but yeah, I agree with that.
Great is subjective when you're looking at a one-loss Kansas City team, isn't it? I think Atlanta covers this spread. I think they lose by a field goal like they did last week to LA. I'm taking the 5.5 points because I think Atlanta at home is not going to get put away by multiple touchdowns like they did last time. I'm going to take the 5.5 points. I think this is a field goal game that Tampa Bay wins, but I would not be shocked at all if Atlanta pulled this game off. I agree strongly with the over. Divisional teams show up against each other. Tom Brady has had some deep passes click now. Matt Ryan has still got incredible weapons. Even when you don't have Julio out there, you've got Calvin Ridley, who is a really good wide receiver. I take the over, but I take the 5.5. I think this is a field goal game.
You know what else you win on this, Justin?
What's that?
The darkest analogy of the week. A group of talent that someone would kill a small dog for. That is fucking gruesome.
I could have said strangle a puppy like I normally do. I tried to make it better.
Seattle.
We don't like small dogs anyway.
Right. Seahawks, Washington.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the upset of the week. I have been saying for weeks, and I really went back this week and watched Washington play. Whatever Alex Smith has bottled up in magic to get himself from his deathbed to being an NFL starter again is contagious across that team.
Does the fact that he's not playing change your thoughts on this?
No, not even a little bit. Because Alex Smith is still right. So you look at Alex Smith, right? Alex Smith to me is no better than 15 or 18 of the quarterbacks at the bottom half of the league. Alex Smith doesn't give it to you. It's the story. Like you said last week, the NFL loves a good storyline, right? Washington needs to go into the game against the Eagles ahead. And they need the Eagles to lose, because if we know anything about Philadelphia fans, when it's the last week of the fucking season and we want a better pick, we find a way to win the division. I don't believe in this Seattle Seahawks team beyond Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson's got me. DK Metcalf is incredible, but I don't believe in anything else on that team. I go back and I watch the Washington football team play defense, and you can see the marked effect that Ron Rivera has on that roster. This is my upset of the week. I think Washington wins this game outright for no reason other than they shouldn't. I think that Seattle's defense is weak enough where if Russell Wilson doesn't come out and put up 3 scores in the first 15 minutes, I don't think that they run away from Washington, and Washington's a scrappy team. I'm going to take the 6.5, but I'm going to say I don't need it, and this is my upset of the week, and the over-under so low, I got to go over.
Oh, I got to weigh in on this after.
You're wrong.
Okay.
You're wrong.
It's okay. I know. It's okay.
And
this
the
is my
reason you're wrong is because everything you said is correct, but Dwayne Haskins is playing quarterback for the Washington Redskins today and not Alex Smith. Been sitting on the bench for more than half the season at this point. It's a bad matchup when you look at it, and it will be a bad matchup come playoffs if Washington makes the playoffs. Their front four is phenomenal, and Seattle gives up more sacks than almost anybody in the league. So overall, this is just a bad matchup. But Dwayne Haskins is no better than I don't know if I would take Dwayne Haskins almost over any quarterback in the league this year outside of maybe Nick Foles and Carson Wentz. And I don't even know. It's kind of a toss-up at that point. So just because Dwayne Haskins is starting, I don't think Washington's going to be able to score. I think Russell Wilson is good enough to not get absolutely annihilated and frustrated by this Washington front four. I like Washington to only be able to score somewhere between maybe 3 and 10 points, and Seattle to do well enough to score about 17 to 21 points. I'll give Washington the 7 with Dwayne Haskins starting, and I'll take Seattle minus 6.5 in the under.
Yeah. Look, Justin, I hope you're right, being a Washington fan, but the story doesn't work unless Alex Smith is playing. The run is over with Dwayne Haskins in there. Now, if Alex Smith comes back next week, then we're back to the story. I've been saying it for weeks, of course, but it does not work with Dwayne Haskins. He's the worst story in the NFL.
If you can't get to the playoffs to give Alex Smith the chance, the Alex Smith story dies. So you still need to make the playoffs, which means you still need.
Well, of course,
he's just not good though. He's just not good. He's not shooting.
Did I say Dwayne Haskins is a good quarterback?
No one's saying he's not good enough. If Washington's winning with a bottom half quarterback and Alex Smith, Dwayne Haskins is way below that bottom half.
We haven't seen Dwayne Haskins in weeks. We don't know what he's going to look like.
I mean, I guess that's the X factor. He could come out with a new attitude. And
guys, listen,
I'm telling you, the story doesn't work. It's Washington loses this game.
Guys, I've got no logic for you. This is not about logic.
Listen,
this is about it feels in my gut that the Washington football team is going to upset the Seattle Seahawks.
And you're right about their defense. Only it's only great. It's only a great defense when it's playing from ahead. When it's playing from behind, they give up a ton of points. Doesn't matter who's fucking playing quarterback.
I don't disagree with anything that any of y'all said. Go ahead, guys.
All right. Bears, Vikings.
Bears, Vikings. Where are we at here? All right. So last time these two teams played, the Vikings won by 6. That's almost enough to just make me take Chicago outright. I actually think this is going to be my upset of the week. Trubisky, for whatever reason, the last 2 weeks has played phenomenal. Had a phenomenal quarterback rating. Last week, I think he was 275 yards and 3 touchdowns. Something's happened, him being inserted back into the starting lineup. Do I think he can keep that going for weeks and weeks? Absolutely not. But in these types of games that teams know each other very well, Chicago having the defense that they do, Kirk Cousins being on the Minnesota Vikings and likely collapsing towards the end of the season, I like the Bears to win this game outright as the Vikings took the first game. Bears are going to win this game. I take the Bears +3. I don't think I need the points.
You disagree, sir?
I just got so much shit for having no logic to back up an underdog upset of the week pick.
I just gave you it.
You try to give me Mitchell Trubisky as the evidence?
What's he done the last 2 weeks?
Who gives a shit? He's Mitchell Trubisky.
Vegas gives a shit. It's a 3-point line.
Oh, my God. Minnesota wins by 6. Lay 3 points in the over. Next game. Oh my God.
So you just got on me for not giving logic, and you didn't say fucking anything just now.
Here's the logic. Are you ready? Here's the logic. Mitchell Trubisky is really the only thing I need to say, but I'll give you further. Minnesota's making a push to matter. Kirk Cousins has more experience and is a better quarterback than Mitchell Trubisky is. Mm-hmm. The Minnesota Vikings, head to toe, side to side, left to right, are a better football team than the Chicago Bears. We're going into crunch time football. It's in Minnesota. There's your logic. Next game, sir. What the fuck? Oh, my God.
Fucking Jaguars, Ravens, 12.5 points.
Hey, can I ask to fuck up I want him to go first on this one.
Yeah, I don't care. Baltimore's been playing much better over the last 3 games. Jacksonville is a complete identity crisis. They don't want to win any games. Baltimore has actually been putting up a lot of points. They put up a ton against a decent Cleveland defense. Lamar played a great game. They have the best rushing attack in the league, the best field goal kicker in the league if it comes down to that. And the Jaguars' pass defense is bottom 5 as Lamar's throwing the ball a lot better. Ravens had almost 300 yards on the ground last week. Your boy Gardner Minshew's back the stash, back in the lineup, and he can have good games at times, but Baltimore has seen this before. Jacksonville's fighting for that 1 or 2 pick. I think it's going to be a blowout. I think they're going to win by at least 13 points. I will give the 12.5 points to Jacksonville and hope that Baltimore stays on the roll that they're on.
Thought that's where you were going. I'm glad about that. Baltimore's not good enough to beat anybody by 12.5 points right now. I think it's a 10-point game. I don't think it's ever in doubt. Jacksonville's never going to compete. But Baltimore gave up 42 points to the Cleveland Browns, who, again, much better than Jacksonville.
The Cleveland Browns have weapons all over the place.
Much better than Jacksonville. I don't disagree with you. But they also only scored 47 because they had to, because of how bad their defense played. I think this is a 10-point game. Jacksonville has no chance at competing in this game. I think it's a 10-point game. I'm going to take the 12.5 points because I think I'm going to cover. Are you go over under?
I'm going to go under.
I'm gonna go the same. I'm gonna go Jacksonville plus 12.5 under.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Lamar Jackson looked like a completely different quarterback last week.
I got to see it 2 weeks in a row. If I got to be wrong,
he's throwing the ball well recently.
Something lit a fire under his ass. Yeah. What would you guys say? That was the best game of the year last week?
It was fun to watch that poop he had to take in the middle of the game. That was great. Coming back out.
coming back out.
He had cramps in his throwing arm, sir.
Not all.
Well, then he came out and threw a fucking dime.
Right. He didn't even get a chance to wipe his ass. He came out, toilet paper.
He had to get warmed up. That's it.
Oh man, that was great. All right. This is, I don't know, an NFL spread, right? Fucking the Alabama game was smaller than this.
Isn't it crazy that we're in a National Football League right now where because of 2 teams out of 32, we have spreads bigger than college football?
Was it 17 crazy? Or was it 17.5? I have
17.5.
Yeah, 17. The Bama game was 16.5.
Oh boy.
So this is a hard one for me, right? Everybody knows how fucked I was when the Jets couldn't cover 19.5 to Kansas City. In Los Angeles, I think the Rams win this game very similarly to how Seattle won. I don't know that it's going to be 40-3, but it's probably going to be like 24, 27, 28-3. I don't think that New York scores at all. I gotta lay 17.5 points, and it's because I'm afraid to get my heart broken by the Jets again. I'm not ready to put myself out there to get hurt. So the Jets have scorned me, and I gotta lay the 17.5 points and hope that the Rams show up today.
I have no stats to back up my pick on this game.
Do the Jets even have stats?
Because there's no logic. There's no logic that can tell me how bad this team actually is. There's no, they're close to last and everything. I actually think when I was going over this, they have a pretty decent rush defense for how bad they are, but that's it. They're bad. They're last in the league and everything else. I got to lay the 17.5 points as well. I just think that Sean McVay. I got nervous
you were going to say that the Jets were going to cover.
I just think that Sean McVay is such a better coach than Adam Gase and what they have over there in New York. They have no idea what they're doing on defense anymore with Greg Williams not there. Trick plays and little gadget plays they're going to be working on for the playoffs. This is the perfect team to try them out against. And they can run the football too. So clock control, Jared Goff being comfortable in the pocket, the Jets just being a bad overall team. And again, they don't want to win a game either. They're playing for the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes. I have to lay the 17.5 points and go Rams.
See, I don't think the Jets are trying to lose games. I think they're trying to win. That's the sad part.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if the Raiders game proved you anything, it's just that they were trying to win a fucking game.
And they can't. Like when the Lions went 0-16, you were like, oh, no, they're bad, but they're clearly trying to get the number one pick. The Jets are not. They're trying to win games. That's the sad part.
Yeah.
Where are we at? Kansas City, New Orleans.
Before you give your take, I have a question for you. Was this game difficult for you to decide on?
No.
Okay, me neither. Go ahead.
Okay. So believe it or not, because we always talk about Kansas City's offense, they actually have a top 5 pass defense. And I don't believe in Taysom Hill passing the football still at all. I don't think it's going to work out for them. In New Orleans, they're going to have to figure out who their next quarterback is at some point. Andy Reid's going to be scheming against Taysom Hill. So I find no reason to believe that he's going to be able to go off against KC, and this is going to be like one of those high-scoring back-and-forth games. KC does have a bad rush defense, and the Saints do have Alvin Kamara, so that might be a saving grace for them. The problem I have, Justin, is Mahomes was sacked 3 times last week and threw 3 picks, and KC still won the game, and he still threw for almost 400 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Fucking nuts, dude.
11 yards per attempt. So I just don't see any way that I can pick against Kansas City. This is a game that they're going to get up for and want to win because they know that the Saints are going to get up for them, and the Saints want to prove that they're one of the best teams in the NFL. Not going to happen today. KC giving 3 points to New Orleans all day.
Over, right?
Yeah, I would have to go over.
Yeah, I think that this is a 45-29 game. I think both teams score, but I think every time New Orleans looks like they're coming to capture a little bit of momentum, Patrick Mahomes is going to come out and fucking stomp them in the throat. That's just what Patrick Mahomes does.
They do, yeah.
I've said this before. I'm a knock on some wood. But I think we're watching the next greatest quarterback of all time in live time, and I'm just trying to enjoy it because he is so unbelievably good at playing quarterback. It's fucking unbelievable to watch. I don't think 3 points is enough. I think that's a big thing for me. A lot of people I talked to told me that this line being so close tells them that New Orleans is going to win this game. I just don't see it for everything that you said. I don't think that New Orleans is good enough anywhere on that field without Drew Brees under center to even compete with a team like Kansas City. Yeah. I don't necessarily agree with you that Taysom Hill's not the answer after Drew Brees. I think we're starting to watch him shake off some of the – he's not a rookie, but rookie shit like a first-time starter would. I'm not ready to give up on Taysom Hill yet, just because of the athlete that he is. But we do have Carson Wentz in Philadelphia, so don't think that I'm marrying myself to him either. I just think Kansas City is just a much better football team, dude. I think that this is a 13 to 16 point win, and Kansas City cements themselves as the team to beat in this league.
I think one of the things that people are getting all iffy about is, the Saints probably feel like they got embarrassed last week losing to the Eagles and a rookie quarterback and are going to get up for this game. If it was against any other team, I'd pick the Saints, but it against Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes, it just doesn't fucking matter. It just doesn't.
100% agree.
And I said last week, this line feels like a result of the past couple of weeks for the Chiefs, where even when Pat Mahomes was playing out of his mind good without the 3 picks, it still wasn't turning into a ton of points.
Yeah.
And then he had a little hiccup last week, like you said, still threw for 400 yards. So it's like, even when he's bad, he's better than everyone else. Like, the points are going to show up at some point. It's probably this week.
Yeah, no, I don't think Breeze is starting today. I think he's a week or two still from coming back. And to be honest with you, it's weird. I'm going to be surprised if he does it all. If you have other information, Pat, that says otherwise, feel free to share a link. But I don't think that's happening today.
So
Browns Giants.
So this is a fun one. So this, I weighed this one as an upset potentially. Listen, again, there's not a ton of logic that's going to come into what I'm about to say, so just prepare yourself. Thank God we're all sitting down. Cleveland put up 42 points last week and basically gave every single thing that they had trying to stop Baltimore. I don't care what anybody says. This team is still not a team built from winners. They're not going to come out with the same vigor. They're going to be tired. They're going to be sore. And New York's defense is a problem. Next season, the New York Giants are going to be a problem with the healthy Saquon Barkley. There's no two ways about it. I'm going to tell you right now, the New York Giants next season are probably going to look a lot like the Tennessee Titans this season. I think 6.5 is too many points. I think that this is a close game and the Giants play up to the Browns and the Browns play down to the Giants. I think this is a field goal game. I don't trust New York to win it, but 6.5 points is too much for me to give with how good that New York Giants defense is. I'm going to take 6.5 points. I'm going to say it goes over, and I think it's going to be a competitive football game.
I disagree. And the reason is, so the Giants are one of the worst teams, especially when Daniel Jones is in the game and sacks allowed. He turns the ball over the same way that Carson Wentz does. It's just like he fumbles once or twice a game. The Browns know how to sack the QB. Myles Garrett's on the other side. Jones is an absolute turnover machine. Their defense is really good, Justin. I will give you that. Cleveland's pass defense has been really bad. And the Giants have actually started to run the ball well. So we're starting to see this little game of clock management and time of possession. And the Giants' run defense has been good, but the Browns' rushing attack has been better. This is more of a feeling game for me. They lose a heartbreaker last week. I don't think the Giants kind of keep up the pace they've on. They got brought down to earth a little bit last week. Feeling game for me. I'm laying the 6.5 points. I think the Browns can win this game by a touchdown, and they're going to continue to play well into December. They didn't play a bad game last week. They just lost at the end when Lamar, came back in, looked like he was going to run the football. They all collapsed.
Drew Brees is starting.
Game.
Drew Brees is starting.
Is starting.
Yep.
Doesn't change anything for me. What a freaking warrior, by the way. 5 broken ribs and a collapsed lung, and they're letting him come in. You know what this tells me, Justin? I think this is definitely Breeze's last year, because I don't think he would be coming back into these last couple games if he wasn't planning on retiring after this year. I don't
disagree.
That's a tough injury to come back with after a couple years.
They still have a chance at the top seed too, that bye week.
Yeah, I don't. It's amazing to me that he is coming back into play. It doesn't change the fact that I think Kansas City is going to win this football game.
I agree.
How about the guy who fractured his throat?
That was a lineman, right?
Yeah, center.
Who was that? That was
he played through the whole game. I forget who it was, but talk about amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So yeah, I'm with you, Aaron. I disagree with everything Justin said about the Giants. And there was talk that Colt McCoy was going to start again. Do we know if that is happening?
Listen, man.
Colt McCoy had his one win. He's not. The Browns' pass defense is terrible, but they have good pass rushers.
If I were the Giants, like you don't win this game unless you take care of the football. And Daniel Jones has never at any point in his career since the first time that he started showed that he can take care of the football. So it's hard to win football games when you're turning it over as much as he does. So
and he showed last week that his hamstring is obviously bothering him. He's worse than Phillip Rivers right now as far as the statue goes. And Baker Mayfield. Let me say this: Baker Mayfield is showing that he's fucking legit. His stats don't always look great, but he is a competitor.
Listen,
Brown wins this by 10. We're going to be clipping this.
If I'm wrong about this game, it's okay because Aaron fell in love with Aaron Rodgers yesterday and picked wrong. So he's already down a game. I can give this one up.
Well, that wasn't because of Aaron Rodgers.
Right. Green Bay still has a terrible defense.
Next game.
All right. Steelers, Bengals.
Okay. So this is actually because the spread's so big and Pittsburgh's offense is playing so poorly. This is a hard game for me to pick because I like to think that because the Bengals are so bad and they have a bad quarterback, their backups are bad, that the Pittsburgh Steelers should handle them. But Pittsburgh's offense has been so bad the last couple weeks and their run game is so bad. I just can't lay 14.5 points, and I want to. I really do. I want Pittsburgh to have this bounce back game where they just destroy the Bengals and they have the best defense, and the Bengals should only put up somewhere between 3 and 10 points. But I just don't think Pittsburgh's going to put up 20 to 24. It's going to be a low-scoring football game, and 14.5 points is just too much. And it's also these teams know each other very well. So I have to take the 14.5. I don't like the pick, Justin. I hate the pick, but I have to take the 14.5 points.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but was it not against Pittsburgh that Joe Burrow tore his ACL?
No, it was Washington.
Right. Pittsburgh was the week before when they got their fucking face stomped in, right?
More than likely, yeah.
So they got crushed by Pittsburgh. They lose their quarterback a week after. Cincinnati's not losing this game by 14 points. It's not happening. There's no fucking way. The book on Pittsburgh is out. Their offense has been figured out. Ben Roethlisberger looks like a 38-year-old quarterback again. There's a reason why they were undefeated and now can't find a way to beat a team. And it's because the map was given. The secret is out on what they do. Cincinnati's not going to win this game, but Cincinnati's not losing this game by 2 possessions. There is no fucking way. Give me 14.5 points, and I'll look good while I use them.
20-7, something like that. I mean,
20 to 10, 21 to 13. Yeah. Exactly.
So this is the only chance that I can really see that I can go against you guys today. Everything you said is right about Pittsburgh, but there's no way that they're going to lose to the Bengals, right? We all agree that they're not going to lose.
Of course not. Yeah,
Pittsburgh knows that the book's out on them. They're gonna take some shots down the field, and it's going to work. They're going to hit it.
Can they take shots down the field?
They have the personnel to do it. They have the talent.
But does Ben have the arm to still do it? Do they have the offensive line to hold up for him when he doesn't move outside the pocket and extend plays anymore?
Well,
Is anybody really on that team so fast that they're going to be burning Cincinnati's corners up and down the field? They can't run the football. They're not going to be able to set up play action. I don't see how you can throw deep passes if you can't set up play action to run the football and Ben can't extend plays and get outside the pocket.
Exactly.
I would never bet on this game, but if a gun was being held to my head, the way I would look at it is Mike Tomlin's a good coach. He's great at developing his staff. They all know what they have to do in order to make themselves a competitive team again. This is the team to try things against. They're going to take some shots. They're going to try it, and I'm saying it's going to work. It could very well not work.
This is the team to try things against if you think you have your seed locked up. But Pittsburgh needs to win a couple more games. They're still that division is they're still rocking and rolling in that division, and they could, if they go on a bad streak, give it up. They can't be the week where you go out against the Bengals and try some shit and end up, in an upset trying to do some weird shit to win this they have to win this football game. So if it's going to be ugly, they're going to win it. But I don't see them. They're
going to play a dink dunk short passing game out of Ben's hands.
They know if they can score 21 points, they're going to win this football game.
But if the goal is to win a Super Bowl, they can't get through the playoffs doing what they have been doing, dinking and dunking. They have to add another element to their offense. And this is the only team that you can try it against right now.
What you're leaving out is that now's not the time. If they beat the Bengals and they lock up their seed,
they have to lock something up first.
If they lock up their seed, they could be playing the Kansas City Chiefs in Week 17, and that's when you try because the game doesn't matter. The game matters right now.
But the other team that they're looking at here is the Kansas City Chiefs, who are now have the number 1 seed.
No, they're looking at their division right now. If they go on a bad run, they're correct me if I'm wrong. They're still trying to lock up their division.
Yeah, I don't think they've clinched yet.
No, I don't think they've clinched yet, but they're going to make the playoffs. There's no doubt about that.
Right, but there's a big difference between. Hold on a second.
Though, man.
There's a very big difference.
Home game doesn't matter this year.
That's not true. There's a big difference between having home field advantage as a division winner and potentially a first round bye if they extend the playoffs.
Look, the Ravens
they're not going to get a first round bye
the Ravens are playing really well, and the Browns are 9-4. The Steelers are 11-2.
Listen. Everybody, shut the fuck up. Give me a second here. This team has to find a way to make it at home. They're in Pittsburgh. It does matter where they play. Pittsburgh in January is a hard place to play football. They're trying to make sure they win their division. If they've played in Tampa fucking Bay, it doesn't matter. But they play in a place where home field will matter. It has nothing to do with the fans. It's the conditions. That's something that Ben Roethlisberger for 15 years has played in. That is a natural advantage to that team. So it does matter to them to clinch this division. They have to scheme a game plan to win. Not win and look great. Not win and figure out how the fuck we're going to win next week. We need to win this game, and then we can worry about the game forward.
Again, if the goal is to win the Super Bowl, which it is, they don't care about winning a game in the playoffs. They want to win the Super Bowl. They know that they have to add another element. And tell me what real contender in the NFC isn't used to playing in terrible conditions. Don't tell me Tampa Bay isn't. Brady is used to playing in this shit. Baker Mayfield plays in this shit. Aaron Rodgers.
Tom Brady is one of 53 roster players. You think that the rest of Tampa Bay can?
These are professionals. It's no one else has to throw the ball.
Oh, come on, man.
The Steelers can't be. The Steelers can't afford to be going into this game taking it lightly. If the Browns win today, which I believe they will, and the Steelers start fucking around and accidentally lose to the Bengals, who's in their division, who knows them very well, and we know how division games go. Any given Sunday, a division game can flip. The Browns are a game back of the Steelers, and now we're fighting here for the division, and that can't happen in the AFC. So
no way, dude, no way. And there's too many good teams. You have Kansas City out there. You have Tennessee that's making noise. You have Cleveland that's making noise. Baltimore looks like they're coming back now. There's too many teams in the AFC for you to fuck around and not be where you need to be.
Steelers win by 21. Ben takes some shots down the field, and he hits them. That's what I'm saying.
Let's. I guess we skip the break so we can get all this in before football.
Give me 90 seconds, and
we'll take 90 seconds. I'm going to talk to Jeff about why he's wrong about Pittsburgh.
I told myself that I would never discuss Pittsburgh this long in my life, but
here's the deal, bro. While I get everything that you're saying, it's important for Pittsburgh to figure out the next stage of their offense and their defense to win a Super Bowl. I agree. Now's not the time. Cleveland has been playing too well. Baltimore's coming up now. They can't spend time fucking around until they lock up the division.
But they can't do that against those teams. They have to do it against a team where they can win, even if they fall behind trying a couple things. They can go back to the old way. They can go back to what has worked for them in the past and still win the game. And I believe the Bengals are starting now. a third different quarterback now. It's their third string quarterback.
But what has worked in the past for Pittsburgh hasn't worked the last 2 weeks that they've lost.
Right. That's what I'm saying. They have to try something against a bad team. They have to be able to see if Ben can hit some things down the field. You can't do that against the Baltimore. You can't lose against Baltimore either.
Cincinnati is not the New York Jets that can't score more than 3 to 6 points. Cincinnati has a decent roster. Their quarterback's gone, so they're not a contending team now. They're not nearly as good as they were with Joe Burrow without him, but they're not the Jets. They're not the 0-16 Detroit Lions from a couple of years ago. They're not that bad. You fuck around on this team, their defense is good enough where if they're up by 10 points, you're not coming back.
When is this game? I can't wait till I'm ready.
All right.
Justin, I'm going to be talking so much shit. Fucking tomorrow. We have to wait till tomorrow.
Listen, let's talk shit, bro. I work until 7 o'clock tomorrow. We could, on my whole drive home, we'll put this shit on air. You and me fighting about Pittsburgh pregame. Let's do it.
I should give you stories about what these sales guys at the dealership were trying to pull on me yesterday. I was fucking laughing in their faces. I'll tell you about it later.
Bro, I don't understand that. Before we get into this Eagles game and on to that point, I don't understand the people who are professionals in my industry. And for anybody who's watching that doesn't know, I'm a general manager of a car dealership. That's what I do for a living. When you know your person that you're talking to, whether they're a friend or a stranger, has experience in the business, and you don't change your entire point of view, if you don't change your approach, you're just going to be a dick at the end of it. And too many people suffer from dickitis. That's what happens.
It was unbelievable. You say it to them, and they start. The next sentence was a sales line. Well, this is what we'll do for you. You know what a dollar deal. I'm like, here we go. Here we fucking go, dude.
It's that old saying: you can be rich or you can be right. Right? I mean, if you're out to just beat another sales guy, then you're going to be poor. Stop it. All right,
let's get to this motherfucking Eagles game.
Who's starting here?
Aaron Barrison. I spent literally the entire week thinking about this game, trying to figure out what my chest and gut of a Philadelphian thought about this game and what my logical, rational mind could piece together. And this was as easy as it was difficult. This was hard and not all at the same time. I cannot see a world where the way that the Philadelphia Eagles played against New Orleans, if that happens again, I don't see a way that Arizona wins this game. I don't see it. Now, that is the biggest if in the history of those two little letters. That if is
it's also an emotional feeling.
For sure. Yeah. Now, listen, we did say last week that before we picked the Saints to cover that spread, that the Eagles were probably going to fucking win that game because they shouldn't.
Yeah.
I step back and I look at the rational, right? The Eagles got the infusion of a new starting quarterback where everything is clicking on offense. He's much more mobile. He reads the field better. He's more decisive. He can go get you a first down when Carson Wentz couldn't. He shifts and moves the pocket. Things seem to be clicking. And then I look at Arizona. And I look at where I had them to start the season and the steady downhill motion and how bad they are right now. And to me, what this looks like from the outside, if I remove the Philadelphians, what this looks like to me is a team on the rise who's fighting with their last gasp of breath to potentially win a very bad division versus a team that's a year away from being real. And for me, and it hurts me, and I didn't make it the upset of the week because I can't say it about the Philadelphia Eagles ever. I am going to take 6.5 points. Mm-hmm. I'm going to affirm and absolutely state unequivocally they cover at the minimum. But I believe that they're going to win this football game today. I think Jalen Hurts is going to continue his progression the way he has. I think this team is playing to an entirely different level of what they did for Carson Wentz. This is my last point about it for you to give your pick and why, and then I want you to pick up on this. Nick Foles and Jalen Hurts are natural-born leaders. They speak and people listen. And not necessarily to the talent level, but they talk and people listen. And Carson Wentz doesn't know how to be a leader. It's not natural to him. It's forced. It's fake, and people see through it. And Jalen Hurts has this roster playing the way that they are because he's a natural-born leader. So give me the 6.5 points. I'm going to pick the Eagles to win outright. I believe this game goes over.
So I'm going to give you the logical perspective on this, and then I'm going to give you the emotional perspective on this. And I think in between, the lines on the football field, a lot of times emotion matters a lot more than logic. The logic says that on one side, I have possibly the best wide receiver in the league, and the guy that I paid in the offseason to cover him is not playing today. So Darius Slay is not playing today. DeAndre Hopkins is on the football field. My worry, and one of my only worries of this game, Justin, is how do we stop DeAndre Hopkins today? Who's covering him? How many guys do we need to cover him? The second thing is the Eagles are one of the better pass rush defenses in the NFL. They're top 5. But Kyler Murray is a very difficult quarterback to sack. They've given up sacks on that Arizona offensive line, but he has a keen ability, the same way that Russell Wilson does, to have that team give up way less sacks than realistically they should. He extends plays. People get open. That's why they have one of the best offenses in the league. They're one of the best rushing teams in the league, but that's really solely because of Kyler Murray, not because of their running game, not because of their running backs, because of Kyler Murray. The Eagles, let me know if you disagree with this. Let's just pretend that last week against the Saints, and especially against the Saints because they were the top defense in the league going into last week, let's just pretend that that was Jalen Hurts' best game he's ever going to play, and he takes just a little bit of a step down. He's still able to find the open receivers. He's still able to step up and scramble outside of the pocket and extend plays. He's still able to do what he does best and run the football, even if he's only running between 50 and 60 yards and not for 100 yards. It opens up the running game for Miles Sanders. Based off what I saw last week, you're going to find an Eagles team that says to themselves, holy shit, if Jalen Hurts had been our quarterback all year, we are probably end up being a 10-6, 9-7 football team. And they believe that because they beat the Saints last week, that they're going to be able to go out there and beat any football team that they come across. So I would not be surprised if the Eagles win this game outright. But the logic says to me, holy shit, DeAndre Hopkins is on the other side, and our best corner is not there to cover him. I'm taking the Eagles plus 6.5. I am taking the over because the Eagles defense is going to have trouble stopping that Arizona offense without Darius Slay. And I also think the Eagles are going to be able to put up points against that Cardinals defense. So I'm definitely going over on this. I think the Eagles think they can beat anybody. I was very impressed with how the defense performed last week. And I think Jalen Hurts, even if he doesn't end up being the long-term answer and the quarterback into next year, has enough to take them on a couple-game run where they beat some teams that maybe other people don't think they're going to beat. And frankly, Justin, I'm just not that impressed with the Arizona Cardinals this year. That's just what it comes down to.
You guys are a week late and $1 short.
Maybe.
Look, it's over.
How much? Jeff,
you got your spark.
Does Arizona win by, Jeff? Just get it out now.
12 points.
Okay.
Look here. Well, first of all, I think we can all agree on this. How did the Eagles win last week?
Because Jalen Hurts.
No, they played great defense. They played really solid defense.
And ran the football.
They ran the ball, and Jalen Hurts did what he was supposed to do. He didn't look amazing. He just did what he was supposed to do.
Yeah.
It worked. It's not going to work every week. They need to put talent around him in order to be successful. You guys might have something with him. He's fun to watch. He's got some heart.
Well, you're saying he had a bad game and basically
I'm not saying he had a bad game.
Well, hold on. He didn't light it up. Nobody's lit up the Saints all year. It doesn't matter what quarterback's been back there. He ran for 100 yards, didn't turn the ball over. What more do you want from a rookie making his first start against the Saints defense?
I don't want any more. I'm not ragging on him. I'm just saying this particular week, this particular pick, the spark is gone. And you get that for 1 week.
Spark's gone after 1 week?
Jeff, I got a question. What did you see last week that gives you any evidential inclination that the execution that they had last week won't be there this week?
I feel that they're going to come out a little bit flat. They always do after a huge game like that. They beat the best defense, one of the top teams and the best defenses in the league.
Carson Wentz does that. We don't know what Jalen Hurts does. Nick Foles sure didn't do that. Nick Foles in 2017 kept winning bigger game after bigger game after bigger game until he was the MVP of the Super Bowl.
You can spit all the logic you want when it comes to the NFL. The term is any given Sunday. There's no logic behind this, but they just are. They're going to come out and fall flat. It's a gut feeling.
I don't think that you need to be I don't think you need to be big to beat the Arizona Cardinals. I feel
they're not a great football team.
You're leaving out the other side of this. Arizona's defense is not good. Arizona's defense is way worse than anybody thought it was going to be. And as great as Kyler Murray is, they're underachieving.
You guys might have something with Jalen Hurts, but look, he is not an Aaron Rodgers. He is not a true breeze.
Nobody's Aaron Rodgers.
He needs talent around him. That's all I'm saying. And we don't have it right now. The Birds don't have it right now. I'm telling you, they're going to come out and fall flat.
Did you hear him catch himself when he said we don't have it, and then he remembered he was a Washington football fan? So look,
you guys are homers. I'm telling you, you're homers.
Before we move on, because I want to talk, Aaron, I got a basketball point I want to talk to you about before we get off this show. But before we move on from this real fast, I don't care who the fuck you are. You didn't know who Aaron Rodgers was a game and a half into his career. You didn't know who Russell Wilson was a game and a half into his career. We don't know if Jalen Hurts is going to be Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes or fucking Ryan Tannehill or Carson Wentz. We don't know. But what we do know is this team performs when he's the leader. And you cannot give me one reason why we should assume the level of execution and effort given last week is gonna not be there. There's no evidence to point to that.
Because we've only seen one game. We've only seen one game. Everything you're saying right now applies. It's if we didn't know who Aaron Rodgers were and Russell Wilson was after a game and a half, we don't know who Jalen. We don't know if his execution is going to be there this week because we only have a game and a half.
Jalen Hurts executed an almost perfect game plan.
It was not perfect. He missed open throws too.
It was his first fucking start against the first defense.
I'm not ragging on the guy. He played well, but
he's going to miss open.
Aaron Rodgers misses open throws.
I've never seen him miss one open throw.
Oh my fucking God, dude.
He's gonna miss open throws. The thing that we're all forgetting here is there is one constant with the Eagles that the Cardinals don't. The Cardinals don't have a constant. Because although they're one of the best scoring offenses in the league, they don't do it every single week. For the most part, the Eagles' defense shows up every single week. They've been very good against the pass all year, and this is what the Cardinals do best. They are not a handoff to a running back football team and get me 20 yards. And the other thing is, we still don't have enough. Nobody has enough tape on Jalen Hurts to know what he's going to be. You have Oklahoma tape and then a tape against the Saints where two people ran for 100 yards. The Cardinals don't have a good defense. So if you think that they're not going to execute, especially on defense in the same way they didn't, the Saints are the hardest team in the league to execute against. And now we're going in and we're playing a 7-6 underachieving Cardinals team. Even if they don't win this game, first of all, they're going to cover. But saying that we're a week late when the whole team has now this jolt of energy from watching a rookie quarterback come in, read the defense, make the open throws, and also take off when he's had to take off and get first downs and extend drives, they're going to win time of possession. They're going to have the better defense on the field. They're going to have the better rushing attack on the field outside of quarterbacks running the football. So the advantage that the Cardinals have in this game is their passing offense. But the Eagles' passing defense has been top 5 all year. So something's got to give at some point, and there's no reason why the Eagles can't win this football game outright. I don't see why anybody thinks the Cardinals are just going to roll over the Eagles this week.
All right, Aaron, that's enough now. I got to get to
You will be eating crow, both of you.
Oh, sounds good. Put me up on the big screen. I'm just going to throw this comment up real quick. So, Tori, I'm sure you're still in here. I want to talk to you, Aaron, about something I saw him post on Facebook yesterday. So he made a post on Facebook that Harden and a big has a much better chance at winning an NBA title than Simmons and Embiid will ever have. Mm-hmm. And I have a fundamental disagreement with that point of view. And I want to know what you think. I'm going to take 2 minutes here. I'll give you a couple too. I don't believe that people are looking at Ben Simmons for what he needs to be in what Doc Rivers is building. Ben Simmons is not going to be relied on to get 25 points a game. You don't need that out of him. You're trying to build a perimeter-centric team that can catch and shoot the ball, and you have Ben to drive, and you have Joe to control the hole. I understand the gleaming newness to a potential James Harden trade, but I am adamant in the fact that if it costs Ben Simmons, I don't think it's worth it. For many more reasons, but none other than the fact that James Harden is 31 years old and is reaching the back end of his prime, and Ben Simmons is 24 years old and just about to enter his prime. I don't want to see a trade of James Harden if it costs Ben Simmons for those reasons. I want to know what you think.
So there's a couple things with the Sixers right now, especially after watching in the preseason, that I started to think about last night. First of all, I think you're wrong. I think that James Harden and Embiid 100% give you a better opportunity to win a championship than Simmons and Embiid do, simply for the fact that you have a scorer when there's 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter and you need a bucket, and there's a guy that can get it to you at any given time, and you're not relying on your center to do it. The way this team is constructed, Justin, I'm starting to think that we're focusing on the wrong person, and that we have been focusing on the wrong person this whole time. Tobias Harris, after watching him last year and when we brought him in and how we expect him to be under Doc Rivers, the thing that Tobias Harris does best, the thing that he is best at, is one-on-one ISO scoring. And if that is what you are best at, you can't run around. You're not going to run around screens all game at your size and hit threes. We rely on you to get us a bucket when we need a bucket. And you're not even the top half of the league in doing that, and we're paying you a max contract. You have a guy that I'm not sure if he's a small forward or a power forward. He's not. He's too unathletic to really be the ISO player that you want him to be. And he's taking up a large majority of our cap room. And when somebody else has the ball, for the most part, he's standing around waiting to get the ball. Tobias Harris, to me, is going to be – I don't want to trade Simmons. If I can get Harden straight up without giving up first-round picks, then that's – I'm going to take that. I think Harden for the next 2 to 3 years – gives you the best shot to win a championship, and I'll give up the defense for having that type of scorer on the team. I'm hoping Tyrese Maxey and Shake Milton give us some of that, but they're still going to be middle to bottom of the pack as far as ISO scores. You need an ISO scorer and a guy that can shoot long threes to open up a lane, get Joel going, get him some easy buckets, and yes, I would absolutely take James Harden for Ben Simmons straight up. James Harden is a championship away from being considered a top 30 player all time at this point because of how good at scoring he is.
Whoa, you don't think that James Harden is already in the top 30 conversation?
I think you can make an argument that he's not because he hasn't done anything in the playoffs and he doesn't play any defense.
Real quick, name 5 two guards that are better than James Harden.
Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade,
Michael.
Michael.
That's 3. Who else?
I mean, off the top of my head,
it's not Reggie Miller, right?
Off the top of my head, I don't know.
It's not Reggie Miller, right?
No, I don't think Reggie.
It's not Ray Allen, right?
No, but these guys, again, you put them in conversations because early in their career they were different players. Later, Ray Allen has a championship. Reggie was one of the best. I think, to be honest with you, I would take Klay Thompson over James Harden.
Okay, so let's say Klay Thompson. That's 4 that we've named ahead of him. So James Harden would be the 5th or 6th best.
But we're just talking about more recent players. I'm not even really going back that far. I can't give you it off the top of my head.
You don't. Wait a minute. Before you start to fucking conflate into the 70s, we don't need to go back that far. It's the reason why the GOATs before Michael aren't considered the same level of great, because Wilt Chamberlain's really the only one that could have played in any era. That's part of that problem, right? Like Steve Kerr was one of the best shooters of his time. Steve Kerr wouldn't make an NBA roster today. It's different. James Harden is the 4, 5, or 6th greatest of all time right now at his position. How does that not immediately put him in the top 30? But in
the history of the NBA, throughout most of the history, the big guys are the ones taking the top spots. I mean, the big guys fill out a large majority of the first 15 top guys in the league. So when you ask me who's the top 5 or 6 best shooting guards ever, if he falls to 6th or 7th on that list because I can come up with some stuff, that puts him closer to that 30 mark than you think, because most of the greats all time, except for the recent modern NBA, have been big guys.
I think Klay Thompson is absolutely inside James Harden is inside the top 30 right now. I don't think he's high.
If we compile the list, he might be, but I think it's close.
Yeah, so he's between 24 and 28.
My point is, if he wins an NBA championship, he's immediately in that top 25. And if you're going to tell me that I have Ben Simmons or James Harden to choose from, which one gives me a better shot at winning a title? If I'm swapping them straight out, I'm taking James Harden all day, because he gets
31 years old, 7 years the senior of Ben Simmons.
How big is your window with Simmons to win a chip? How long is it?
5 to 7 years?
I don't think it is.
How the fuck wouldn't you? Ben Simmons is going to be in his prime until he's 34.
Because of the injuries that happen to Embiid and Simmons on a regular basis, I think you have a couple-year window.
Shut up. Regular basis. Ben Simmons is not hurt like Joel Embiid is.
Ben Simmons was hurt his whole rookie year, got hurt last year, and got hurt 2 years ago in the middle of the season.
Good Lord Almighty. Ben Simmons gets hurt like players get hurt. Joel Embiid gets injured. Ben Simmons does not get hurt that way. And James Harden
like a 6'11" guy does.
Wait a minute. James Harden's also dealt with his own in comparison, right? James Harden's 31. You yourself said 2 to 3 seasons for James Harden, which puts him at 34 years old. Ben Simmons is going to learn to improve his body and probably also have a prime till 34, giving you a very different skill set. James Harden's always going to be a better scorer than Ben Simmons is. But you're getting more time out of Ben Simmons. You're going to have 3 to 4 more years of prime basketball of a superstar player with Ben Simmons than you will James Harden, just based on age.
Yeah, but if these 2 years, James Harden's a better player than Ben Simmons. He is right now. Ben Simmons.
Disagree about that.
Okay, so why would you not take him in a trade for the next 2 years to try to win a championship?
Because I'm not going to get Ben Simmons back 2 years later.
But your
and then
window,
I'm left with nothing.
Your team is right now.
I had 24 months of James Harden to give up another 5 years of Ben Simmons. No, I'm not interested.
Yeah, well, until Ben Simmons shows me he's going to shoot the ball, I don't care how long it is.
All y'all motherfuckers, wrap up, dog. Jesus Christ.
Is Ben Simmons going to bring a championship to Philadelphia?
No, he's not going to be the guy. No, of course not.
So you believe as long as Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons are on this team together, the Philadelphia 76ers won't win a title?
If we're in game set, listen.
No. I don't want to wild.
I don't unless we make another trade and have a true big three.
Of course, we're going to have to make another trade. You need another superstar.
So if we made another trade just for James Harden, we wouldn't need to make another trade.
I'm asking you a very specific question: yes or no? While Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid are on this team together, the Sixers will never win a title.
No.
Okay.
Unless they add somebody, that's what you were saying, right, Aaron? Like
they would have to add another.
Simmons and Embiid need another player. You're saying if they got James Harden, you wouldn't.
Go. You're saying Simmons and Embiid together, no matter what.
I'm saying if you gave me James Harden for the next 2 years, I could almost guarantee that the Sixers are going to be in the finals. I can't do that with Ben Simmons.
But you know what you can't guarantee? You can't guarantee me that I beat the Lakers because it's a mismatch. Because James Harden doesn't know how to spell defense.
Nobody's beating the Lakers.
That's not necessarily true. If the Sixers find a scorer to replace Tobias
Harden,
if the Sixers find a scorer to replace James Harden with, Zach LaVine would do it. You have the matchup ability to stop Anthony Davis and LeBron James from scoring 60 points combined tonight.
I like Zach LaVine a lot. I like him a lot. You need James Harden to win a championship.
Jesus fucking Christ. How many championships has James Harden won? Oh, wait, that's right. None. You don't need
players has he had? How many players has he had like Joel Embiid?
Oh my God. Jesus fucking Christ. We're gonna wrap up now, guys. What a great running up right in the kickoff. Kickoff just started.
All right, enjoy your
I'm gonna go first. My upset of the week is who the hell did I say? I wrote it down. Was it Chicago? It wasn't Chicago. It was Washington. Washington is my upset of the week. They're going to win the game outright. Bank on that. I can't remember what Aaron said, but he's wrong. I think the Eagles win this game outright. I know that we both
Wrong.
agree that they'll cover the spread, but I think they win this game. Well, I'm excited for Wednesday. We got to get really deep into basketball on Wednesday. Sixers start their season. Pay attention for that show. It's going to be a good time. And that's all I got.
Chicago is my upset of the week, and 76ers, please, for the love of God, try to move Tobias Harris. I'm going to watch him do the same thing this year that he did last year and half the year before, and what he brings to this team is just about nothing. It's the worst 18 to 20 points that you get out of any NBA player in the NBA. That's all I got. Join us on Wednesday for our reviews. Enjoy your Sunday football. Justin, Jeff, thank you very much. Big facts on all social media platforms, and we will see you guys then.
Peace.